When it comes to the origins of life, or what we believe to be reality, there is no shortage of theories. Despite how unanswerable this question may seem, theories will always emerge attempting to account for the many unknowns we have yet to understand and discover. One thing is for certain, however, despite the fact that we still have much to learn, we've come a long way in understanding the true nature of our reality. The Big Bang Theory implies that not everything in existence resulted from a single event that launched the creation of the entire universe, and that everything in existence today was once part of what's referred to as the singularity, a single, infinitely dense point. This of course begs the question, if the Big Bang created the universe, who or what created the Big Bang? And who or what created whatever created that? At any rate, it remains the most popular theory behind the origin of the universe, born of the observation that other galaxies are moving away from our own at tremendous speeds, in all directions, as if being propelled by a very powerful force. Big Bang believers suggest that this event occurred approximately 15 billion years ago from some ancient, unknown type of energy. National Geographic explains that, according to this theory, in the instant, a trillionth of a second, after the Big Bang, the universe expanded with incomprehensible speed from its pebble-sized origin to astronomical scope. Expansion has apparently continued, but much more slowly, over the ensuing billions of years. The origins of this theory stemmed from Georges Lemaître, a Belgian priest who proposed that the universe came from a single primordial atom. After Edwin Hubble's observation that galaxies are hurtling away from us, the theory gained more traction. That being said, it's just a theory, yet many accept it as fact. The truth is, we simply don't know, and can only make educated guesses. Several major questions remain unanswered. The book Gravitation by Wheeler, Thorne, and Meissner is one of the more foundational books in physics, as it explains the origins of this theory. Many novice physics students have to read this book in their studies. On page 719, you find the current and most accepted model of the known universe, according to the Standard Model, which is a drawing of a guy blowing up a balloon with pennies glued to it. The balloon represents the universe expanding as it is being blown up, and the pennies glued to the balloon move away from each other as the universe expands. Yet, according to Nassim Haramein, the director of research for the Resonance Project, if for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction, then why have we not heard about the Big Contraction? For every action there is an equal opposite reaction is one of the most foundational and proven concepts in all of physics. Therefore, if the universe is expanding, then the guy, or whatever he is, who is blowing up that balloon, has to have some huge lungs that are contracting to be able to blow it up. This a concept that Nassim Haramein began exploring when creating an alternative unified field theory to explain the universe. He felt that there had to be something fundamental and universal that was contracting in order to cause the expansion of the universe, and that the current theory does not account for this. His work has led him to develop his unified field theory, which includes an explanation for the expansion of the universe. The thing that is contracting and allowing for the expansion of the universe is space itself, not just curving as Einstein suggested, but curling toward singularity at every point. Below is a great talk given by him. After researching this topic myself, I believe non-material science is a fundamental key to discovering the origins of our universe. Most of physical reality is birthed from the non-physical, from empty space. No point is more central than this, that empty space is not empty. It is the seat of the most violent physics. John Archibald Wheeler, space is actually not empty, and it's full of energy. The energy in space is not trivial. There's a lot of it, and we can actually calculate how much energy there is in that space, and that reality might actually come out of it, that not everything we see is actually emerging from that space. Nassim Haramein, another factor that supports the Big Bang theory, in a sense, is quantum entanglement, a phenomenon that Einstein thought was so spooky that it could not be valid. It suggests two things, either that the space between physical objects isn't actually empty space as our senses perceive it to be, or that information is traveling faster than the speed of light, or, better yet, instantaneously, with no time involved. It implies that everything is connected, that if there was a Big Bang, it happened when all physical matter was one, and then exploded out into little pieces that spread throughout the cosmos. The tricky part to understand is that all those little pieces, those planets, those stars, and all the intelligent life that has most certainly formed is still all connected in some way we have yet to understand. Quantum entanglement was recently achieved in space. So, who is that guy, gal, or source? What about consciousness? Again, there are always new theories emerging. For example, a group of Canadian academics published a study in the journal Physics Letters B which postulates that the Big Bang singularity can be resolved by their new model, in which the universe has no beginning or end. The theory suggests that the universe is filled with a quantum fluid, which is itself filled with gravitons. As far as we can see, since different points in the universe never actually converged in the past, it did not have a beginning. It lasted forever. It will also not have an end. In other words, there is no singularity. The universe could have lasted forever. It could have gone through cycles of being small and big. Or it could have been created much earlier. Study co-author Surya Das, University of Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada. Pretty hard to wrap your head around, isn't it? What's even more interesting is that this theory dates back thousands of years. Famous Greek philosopher Aristotle believed that the universe exists eternally, that it's something that's been around forever. The question of whether the universe has a beginning was also explored by German philosopher Immanuel Kant. This topic has been debated and theorized about throughout the ages, and if we look even further back through time, there is always a source, a creator, or a god. That being said, God and religion have, in my opinion, been used to manipulate the human race in several different ways, for multiple reasons. That is not to say there is no validity behind God and religion, but rather that it's a very deep discussion. Retired American bishop explains how the church invented hell and what religion is really used for. Renowned physicist Stephen Hawking explains the expansion of the universe was one of the most important intellectual discoveries of the 20th century, or of any century. It transformed the debate about whether the universe had a beginning. If galaxies are moving apart now, they must have been closer together in the past. If their speed had been constant, they would all have been on top of one another about 15 billion years ago. Was this the beginning of the universe? Many scientists were still unhappy with the universe having a beginning because it seemed to imply that physics broke down. One would have to invoke an outside agency, which for convenience, one can call God, to determine how the universe began. They therefore advanced theories in which the universe was expanding at the present time, but didn't have a beginning. One was the steady-state theory, proposed by Bondi, Gold, and Hoyle in 1948. The expansion of the universe from the Big Bang to the present. What about the non-material and consciousness? There's a good reason why so many scientists are gathering to emphasize that matter is not the only reality, and that consciousness could play a huge role in the creation of matter itself. Almost all of the founding members of quantum mechanics have emphasized, multiple times, that, as Max Planck, the originator of quantum theory, said, "I regard matter as derivate from consciousness. Everything that we talk about, everything that we regard as existing, postulates consciousness." In 2010, one of the most respected scientists in the world, Robert Lanza, published a book titled Biocentrism: How Life and Consciousness Are the Keys to Understanding the True Nature of the Universe. An expert in regenerative medicine and the scientific director of Advanced Cell Technology Company, Lanza is also very interested in quantum mechanics and astrophysics, an interest that led him on a path to developing his theory of biocentrism, the theory that life and consciousness are fundamental to understanding the nature of our reality, and that consciousness comes prior to the creation of the material universe. There are many examples. Does this mean that the catalyst for the Big Bang was a conscious observer? Or was that big pile of matter simply, itself in some way, conscious? What comes first, consciousness or physical material reality? Is there even a physical material reality, or is it, as some new physics implies, a complete illusion? Are we living in a holographic universe? Is there a source from which we all come? Are there worlds about which we are unaware? If there is a soul, what about the world it resides in? A number of observations within the fields of neuroscience and quantum mechanics suggest that consciousness is actually not even a product of the body, that it exists somewhere else, separate from the body. If this is true, does that world or place that we cannot fully perceive play any role in the creation of our own world? What about other dimensions? What about multiple universes? If there are multiple universes, does that mean each universe was created by a Big Bang? Or was there one giant Big Bang that created multiple universes with multiple Big Bangs? The list of questions can continue into eternity, but I truly believe that the truth about the origins of what we call reality lies within non-material science, and examining aspects of reality we have a difficult time perceiving. The day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in one decade than in all the previous centuries of its existence. Nikola Tesla. This requires science to completely change and take something verging on a spiritual perspective. Because, as Haramain himself says, looking for consciousness in the brain is like looking in the radio for the announcer. My point is, we just don't know. And constantly perceiving our world from a materialistic, physical perspective will not allow us to establish a proper explanation of the origins of reality. If we do indeed live in a spiritual universe, we're clearly missing a lot with regards to our consideration about how the universe began. Perhaps its origins are in the non-physical worlds, or worlds, while in this body, we are unable to perceive. I'll leave you with a great quote to ponder on. It's from R.C. Henry, professor of physics and astronomy at Johns Hopkins University, wrote in a 2005 publication for the journal Nature. According to pioneering physicist Sir James Jeans, the stream of knowledge is heading towards a non-mechanical reality. The universe begins to look more like a great thought than like a great machine. Mind no longer appears to be an accidental intruder into the realm of matter. We ought rather hail it as the creator and governor of the realm of matter. The universe is immaterial, mental and spiritual. Live and enjoy.